What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Saturday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt. And we are back after this ridiculous ping pong thing we got going on. Losing, winning, losing, winning, losing. Losing Friday night. The props did go 2-1. So we are now 17-6 on our NBA player props, but unfortunately, we get an open net goal late, 5-2 final between Minnesota and Colorado, so that under does not push. We lose that, and so we're down 0.72 units on the day, meaning we are still down for the week. So we have Saturday and we have Sunday, and we've got a lot of things that we can bet on. I've got 3 college basketball bets for you guys here. Now, we know that college basketball hasn't been great, but we're going to keep on firing because welcome to March, and it's really fun to go into March. We need to add a couple of plays this week, or I guess next week, for our portfolio for teams that we have bet. We got Iowa State 20-1. We got Florida 10-1. We got to jump in with some other teams to win the national championship from a future perspective. But I will be doing the live chat on our Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat at 8 o'clock in the morning Pacific, 11 a.m. in the morning Eastern. For 30 minutes, we will go over picks and plays and thoughts and roll through the schedule because there are some really big games. I've got 3 bets. I might add one more, but I don't know yet. I'm watching. There's one game I'm watching. We're going to see where it goes. I don't like having a gigantic card. It's getting a little bit big because I do have 2 NBA player props. At 17-6, I can't not have official plays, and I can't get into this. Like tomorrow on a college basketball live stream, I thought about giving out the props on that. That's going to be convoluted and confusing, so I'll just give you the 2 plays I like, and that's it. It's just 2 NBA player props here today off the prop bet cheat sheet and the prop bet analyzer. I'll give you 3 plays I like. Please don't. Ninja wants to be part of the podcast. So we'll do that coming up at 11 o'clock in the morning on our Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat. You guys like it when Ninja jumps in and makes himself heard. So I don't know. We'll figure some things out. Ninja thinks he's bigger than he is. He's a little tiny little dog. But before we give you the picks, the 3 plays, and the 2 props for today, let me tell you about our friends at Bet365 and bettingpros.com/365. It's an offer from Bet365 where you can turn $5 into $150 of bonus bets when you join Bet365. To claim the offer, you're going to go to bettingpros.com/365 and deposit at least $10. If you place a bet of at least $5, you will earn $150 in bonus bets. Again, that's bettingpros.com/365. 21 plus only. Must be present in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, North Carolina, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF if you live in Iowa. Terms and conditions do apply. Okay, so let's start with college basketball, and then I'll get us into the plays for the NBA player props. So we'll just go in order of the way that I've written things down here. So let's start with the game of the day and Auburn at Kentucky. I've got 3 bets. They're all in the SEC. I'm going to the SEC tournament. I'm going to be in Kentucky coming up here in a couple of weeks. We're going to see me in a hotel room doing the Daily Juice we're going to be in Franklin, Kentucky for a couple of days. So up there, then probably Nashville for a night or 2. I don't know. It's all going to be crazy, but welcome to March. Auburn on the road at Kentucky. This game will be seen on ABC, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Tip for this monster game at Rupp Arena. Look, Kentucky has been very good lately. They win on the road at Oklahoma. They lost to Alabama, but they won at home to Vanderbilt. They won at home against Tennessee. They won at home against South Carolina. They won at home up against Texas A&M. This is a different team, as you would expect. They're 8-7 in the SEC, but at home, they protect their home court. Rightfully so. I mean, they have lost games at home. They lost to Alabama at home, 102-97 back in early January, and they lost to Arkansas in somewhat shocking fashion, that was the return of John Calipari. There were injuries that factored in. Look, Kentucky's getting healthy. They are. They're getting healthy, and they're looking great. They won on the road at Oklahoma with a crazy, twisting, unbelievable away shot that went down. This is a 5-point win for Auburn, according to KenPom. But I've got a Kentucky team that's just been so darn good this year against the number, at home in particular. And I know that Auburn has the most quad one wins out of anybody else, but the number at 5.5, I think it's too heavy. Kentucky is 14-14 ATS on the year, but they're 9-7 at home, 8-7 against the number in the SEC. Auburn, for all their great quad one wins, are 7-8 in SEC play. They're coming off of a complete destruction of Ole Miss, but they didn't cover against Georgia, and they didn't cover against Arkansas. Look, they probably win the game, but I could absolutely see Kentucky winning this game. This is Mark Pope's first time coaching against Auburn, first time coaching up against Bruce Pearl. And look, it's been a while. Kentucky's won 4 of the last 6 matchups, but this is a different Auburn team, obviously. But this is Saturday. This is Rupp. This is March. Give me the points. I'm taking Kentucky plus 5.5 for 1.1 units. DraftKings has got this bet at 5.5. They're a bit off market. Most bets are at 4 or at 5. They're at 5.5. Hopefully you guys get 6 or 6.5. Hopefully the number keeps on climbing and you can take the home dog in Kentucky. But I'm going to trust the Wildcats here, even though Auburn's been just an absolute machine on the road this year. They've won at Alabama and they covered. They won at Vanderbilt and they covered. Like, this is a team that they don't play around. Like, you can seriously look at them and be like, on the road, their last 2 road games have been pretty impressive. They played 3 straight home games with Arkansas, Georgia, Ole Miss, but on the road against Ole Miss, they won by 10. On the road against LSU, they won by 13. They've covered 4 straight road games. This would be the first time in 5 games where they don't cover if Kentucky gets that W here. But Kentucky at home, like I mentioned, big win over Vanderbilt and they covered. Big win over Tennessee and they covered. Big win over South Carolina and they covered. They didn't cover against Arkansas, but they have played well at home lately, and I think this is where the home crowd and Kentucky Magic, Auburn's going to be in for I think, an absolute brawl here. Give me the points. Kentucky plus 5.5 for 1.1 units. Bet number 2, let's stay in the SEC. Let's talk about Georgia and Texas. I am way down on Texas, like way down. Texas hasn't covered in 6 straight games. They are 8-7-1 ATS at home, but they are 6-8-1 in SEC play, and they haven't covered since the 1st of February. It's been a month since Texas has covered. They've lost games to Arkansas, Vandy, Alabama, Kentucky, South Carolina. Oh, sorry, they beat Kentucky. Sorry. Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Alabama, South Carolina, and Arkansas. They beat Kentucky in that somehow, like, what the heck happened? Texas beat Kentucky. Don't know where that came from, but they did. They've lost outright 5 of 6. And they're favored by 5.5 over a Georgia team that just beat Florida? Now, what you're going to say to me is that this is the classic letdown spot. That this is Georgia's going to just absolutely, they covered against Auburn, they played and beat Florida, and so they're going to completely let down after the court storming and big men on campus, all that stuff. Here's why I think that doesn't happen. This is late in the season. Georgia is playing for their life right now to get into the NCAA tournament. They are 17-11 straight up, but they're 5-10 in the SEC. They can't afford, I mean, Georgia can't afford to do much here in terms of losing games. They just snapped a 4-game losing streak, losing to Florida. They need to beat Texas, they need to beat South Carolina, and they need to beat Vanderbilt. If they win those 4 games, they're going to be in the NCAA tournament, and Mike White will have done something that I don't think anybody really thought was going to be happening with Georgia this year. They are phenomenal on defense. We know this. They are great on the road. They are still 1-10. You can play the under if you want in this game. The reason why I'm not is because Texas is a massive over team at home this year. They're 10-4-2 to the over at home. Total's 145.5, which is really high for a Georgia team. Like I mentioned, is 10-1 to the under. So you can do that if you want. But Georgia, all of a sudden, 5 of the last 6 games have gone over for Georgia. They've all of a sudden started to figure out how to score the basketball. In the last game, over by 22 points, 6.5 points, 16.5 points. Last 3 games, all overs, all flew over. 1 road, 2 at home. For Texas, they've gone over 7 straight games. 7 straight overs for Texas. So it's tough to play the under in this game. Maybe wait for like a fast start and maybe you get like 155 or something and bet the under then in game. But I'm taking the points. Give me Georgia. Give me Mike White. Give me this defense. I don't like Texas. They're reeling. Georgia's going up. Texas going down. Even after the big win over Auburn, I'm taking Georgia at plus 5.5 for 1.1 units. And finally, let's go to Alabama and Tennessee. This is an unbelievable football rivalry, but this is a basketball game, an awesome basketball game. Vols at home, favored by 3.5. The Vols are 9-6 at home this year, ATS-wise. Alabama is 8-6 on the road, ATS-wise. Bama's covered their last 2 games. Tennessee's coming off of a win, but not a cover against LSU on the road. They beat A&M, catching 2 as a dog. They won outright by 8. They beat Vandy in their last home game, laying 12.5, winning by just 5. Against Missouri, they laid 9. They won by 4. Against Florida, though, they laid 3, and they won by 20. This is a massive, and I mean a massive battle, contrast of styles. Alabama wants to run. They're the number 1 up-tempo team in college basketball. Tennessee is the complete opposite. The Vols are 346th when it comes to tempo, and they're at home. And when they're at Knoxville, this is where Rick Barnes' team throws the brakes on in a big-time way and makes it very, very difficult for opponents to score. The Vols at home this year, they're actually 8-7 to the over, but they're 9-6 to the under in the SEC. Alabama 9-6 to the over, as you would expect. On the road, Alabama is 10-4. On over. 158.5 is super low for Alabama. Here's the last. Let's just look at, this is, by the way, this is the back to Kent State on the 22nd of December. That's the last time we had a total. South Carolina 157. Okay, that's the last time on the 8th of January. That's the only other time in the SEC this season this number has been anywhere under 160 for a total perspective for Alabama in the SEC. 174.5, 181, 173, 174.5, 167, 166.5, 162. You get my drift here? This being 158.5 is really low. If the Vols can keep this game under, the Vols will win this game and they will cover. Tennessee's favored, rightfully so. Will Alabama be able to hit threes? That is the number 1 question here. It is a 5-point win for Tennessee over Alabama. The number's 3.5. It's a little bit suspect, but good value. Tennessee's the number 1 efficient defense, the number 1 effective field goal percentage defensively, number 3 in 3-point defense, number 15 in 2-point defense. Vols defensively, this is just the best defense in college basketball. They should make life really tough on Alabama. Bama's offense is good. 3rd in efficiency, 10th in effective field goal percentage, 107th in 3-point shooting, and 1st in 2-point percentage. Whoever dictates tempo in this game is going to win. I think it's going to be the Vols. You can bet money line if you want. I'm going to go with KenPom. 5-point number there. We'll lay 3.5 with Tennessee here for 1.1 units. So our plays here for us in college basketball. Kentucky at home, plus 5.5 against Auburn. Georgia at home. Georgia on the road, catching 5.5. Tennessee at home, laying 3.5. All SEC plays. There may even be a 4th SEC play before we are done. We'll kind of see how this all kind of plays out here. But come SEC time, SEC tournament time, Georgia needs to get after it. Georgia on the road at Texas. I blanked on who they were playing for a second. Georgia against Texas. This is a 3-point loss, according to Ken Palm with Georgia and Texas, by the way. We're going to jump in there with Kentucky plus 5.5, Georgia plus 5.5, and Tennessee minus 3.5. You can bet money line if you want, like I said, but those are our 3 college basketball plays. We may add one more game on the live stream coming up 11 o'clock Eastern time on the BettingPros Discord channel, bettingpros.com/chat. All right, 2 NBA player props. Again, 17-6 record, so I got to jump in on it. I can't not. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Milwaukee is at Dallas. This is a 34% positive EV play. The projection is 52.5 for points, assists, and rebounds. I think it's a little bit too high. Instead, I want to go to points and rebounds for Giannis. That projection is 45.7. The number is 40.5. 5.2 differential between the projection and the actual prop. Yes, this is a prop that hasn't hit all that often for Giannis, but I think we're good here with Giannis. He hit it in the last game against Denver with 47. He was a rebounding machine. Should be also a rebounding machine here up against Dallas. In head-to-head action against Dallas, they've played 2 times the last 2 years. He's gone over this number in both times playing Dallas the last 2 years. Different teams, different seasons. I get all of that. But the time against Denver snapped a 4-game streak in which Giannis really wasn't playing all that well. It didn't look like himself. Now he does. Prop bet cheat sheet likes it. I like it too. We're going to go over 40.5 rebounds and points for Giannis Antetokounmpo to win to half unit. So minus 121. So 0.6 units down on that. And then finally, Max Christie. Let's stay in the same game. For Dallas, Max Christie, points, rebounds, and assists. Last 3 games have all gone under the prop of 19.5. Currently, for the prop bet cheat sheet, the projection is 14.1. It's a 5-star play with a plus 35 EV on this, a 5.4 differential for this, which is good. You have a decent defense for the Milwaukee Bucks at times, and the number at 19.5 is only minus 102 to bet the under here. So there's been some play on the over already. You may get a better number than what I got here, but I'm going to play Max Christie under 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. All right, so here are the 5 plays. 2 player props, bet them to win a half a unit. The other college basketball games, bet them to win a full unit. Kentucky plus 5.5, Georgia plus 5.5, Tennessee minus 3.5, Giannis over 40.5 points and rebounds, and Max Christie under 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists for us. I will talk to you guys coming up on the live chat on our Discord channel, 11 a.m. Eastern time. bettingpros.com/chat to join. My name is Matt Perrault. Follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt every single morning on Saturday as well. It is the Daily Juice.